focus of our video today is the brewing civil war at Lucasfilm. Inside Lucasfilm, Team Kennedy with her sycophantic loyalists versus Jon Favreau and his team of wonderful creatives. What's going to happen? Let's dive into it.
Come with me and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look and you'll see into your imagination.
Hey, we're on Bounding Into Comics here for this article about a civil war at Lucasfilm for control over Star Wars. Now, on one hand, we have Team Darth Kennedy, the not-so-wise.
What do we do, Cap?
We fight.
Then the other hand, over here, Team Jon Favreau. So this is going to be an interesting shakeup.
This is going to end well.
Tension in the air, face to face. Both still with their respective time. You can bet on that.
Absolutely. I mean, he's the man.
Obviously, Kennedy is, got control right now. She's president of Lucasfilm, but there's loyalists in both camps. Enemies are everywhere. It's civil war. I can't do this with a straight face. This article from John F. Trent, May 7th, 2020. Let's check this out. A new rumor details there's an internal power struggle happening at Lucasfilm over control of Star Wars and the franchise's creative direction. Well, anything is better than the current creative direction outside of The Mandalorian, which Jon Favreau did an excellent job on, and Dave Filoni. The rumor comes from WDW Pro on the WDW Magic forums, and that is more difficult to say than it appears to be on paper. In the post titled, What to Watch Going into the Earnings Report dated Monday, May 4th, WDW Pro primarily discusses Disney parks and the idea that Disney has been tossing around on how they might be able to reopen amidst the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Oh no, I said coronavirus. However, WDW Pro also details an internal power struggle over control of Star Wars at Lucasfilm. WDW Pro begins. The ongoing battle over Lucasfilm's direction continues, with Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau factions fighting over the studio. It's fairly well known at this point that the beef between Kennedy and Iger is real, given that Iger has essentially ignored her in his memoirs. Well, because Kathleen Kennedy's an idiot. I mean, she's a glorified coffee fetcher. So I wouldn't write about her either. It's also hard to lose sight of how many projects Kennedy has seen fail at Lucasfilm. Star Wars Resistance, Star Wars Forces of Destiny, Star Wars Galaxy of Adventures, Solo, and the sequel trilogy falling in revenues with each release, while Favreau seemingly struck it out of the park with The Mandalorian, a series for Disney Plus that even Iger was giving creative suggestions for and taking notes on each episode. Mandalorian was great. It really took us back to a minimalist approach to Star Wars, as comparatively speaking, by what they've given us in the movies. And by minimalist, I don't mean that as a slight to The Mandalorian. I mean they've simplified things, taken away all of the flash, and just put substance back into it. It's a meat and potatoes kind of show, and I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. I like it. Star Wars Resistance, I did not. I watched 7 episodes of that show, and I was going to review it. I actually wrote a few reviews for it.
No, don't like that.
And I never did anything with them. They're just sitting in a notebook somewhere. WDW Pro elaborated, buried in the lead of Waititi directing a new Star Wars film, which Kennedy has no creative control over. That's kind of hard to believe, that Kathleen Kennedy is not going to have control over Taika Waititi film, given what we know about Taika Waititi's views and the way he did things with Thor Ragnarok, and I'm doing it again, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I'm not sure what to do with my hands.
Waititi, I'm not going to slight him too much because of what we do in the dark. Thor Ragnarok, miss me with that player. There was confirmation of the female-centric Star Wars series being helmed by former Weinstein personal assistant Leslie Headland. That's another bone of contention, the hiring of Leslie Headland. Not only is this a terrible PR move, given her comments on white women, calling them the silent killer, and just basically...
I think white women need to kind of step up their game, to be quite honest. Like, sorry, but I'm calling you bitches out. Like, I'm also seeing the silent killer, which is a lot of white women at the top who are kind of reinforcing a lot of old ideas.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
Being a self-hating white person. Like, I'm sorry. I don't really touch on this stuff that much, but we need to have a discussion real quick about this whole self-loathing white, the white guilt. Miss me with that shit. Like, really. Like, I'm sorry. Miss me with it, because you're virtue signaling is what you're doing. And to bring this back home, you're virtue signaling. Nobody cares. Trust me. The people that you're doing that for don't want you to do that for them. And the ones that do are just placating you and patting you on the head because you're calling you a good lapdog because you're an idiot. Okay? So miss me with that shit. It's ridiculous. You look like a complete moron, and it's fodder. You're fodder, basically, is what you are. You're making yourself just cannon fodder at that point. You're trash. Because you're selling your soul in the name of woke points that aren't redeemable for cash value for folks that don't need your help, because they can stand on their own, and they've proven that time and time again. Creativity knows no colors, no creeds, no race, no religions. Creativity is creativity. I'm sorry, and the way that these people like Leslie Headland operate is, nope, you've got to be a checkbox. Oh, look, I'm an alphabet person, and I'm a woman, and but so I'm a white woman, so I have to feel guilty about being a white woman, even though I'm an alphabet person, and I have to put everybody else over at my own expense because I feel guilty about being white. No, you're pathetic. Okay, you're pathetic.
We now return to your regular programming.
WDW Pro then details that Lucasfilm is taking a page out of the Ghostbusters 2016 Charlie's Angels playbook, and that anyone who criticizes their direction with the show will be deemed a misogynist. Well, of course they will. And I went to see Charlie's Angels, so I can review that movie all I want, and it was trash. It was garbage. And we will be seeing that in my series, Is It Woke? They explain, but be ready, because it looks almost certain that a new narrative is being pushed by Kennedy loyalists in Lucasfilm. And the narrative is that Headland was only a personal assistant for 1 year, and that being against her or her series is misogynistic, mean, and unfair. Okay, Leslie Headland worked for Harvey Weinstein for 1 year. She was his personal assistant for 1 year. She has to be complicit in some things, I'm sorry. There's no way that you're that monster's personal assistant for a year and you don't know anything about his curious indiscretion, shall we say. WDW Pro notes Disney at large doesn't want this conflict. Again, this is a conflict that Disney doesn't want. They don't want a conflict over a hire that lavishly praised Weinstein, deleted hundreds of tweets at the same time as a leak about her project, and made no dirt on Iger and Eisner. Yes, there is that as well. Bob Iger has presidential aspirations. Michael Eisner is, I believe, comfortably retired at this point. So, Leslie Headland, having worked for Harvey Weinstein, deleting all these tweets, this is a clear sign of guilt, because they hit the nail right on the head. Lavish praise of Weinstein. Much like Meryl Streep's Harvey Weinstein is a god comment. Yeah, these people are not good people. While WDW Pro believes there is a storm brewing at Lucasfilm, they do indicate that while Kennedy is well positioned to outlast it, as she has done time and time again, with all that said, Kennedy has essentially gotten her way time after time, outplaying Iger even if she has been hammered by segments of the fans, mostly by hiring and developing strong loyalty within her brand. This is the thing I don't understand about her. She's under contract. You tell me they can't just buy her out and get rid of her. I mean, come on. Iger doesn't... Oh, you're so sexist. You fired a woman. Well, we fired an incompetent woman who doesn't belong in the position she's in. The only position she's in is should be fetching coffee. Clownfish TV covered the rumor with Geeky Sparkles ripping into Kennedy loyalists' alleged playbook of describing those who dare criticize Headland and her upcoming series as misogynistic. Actually, I believe they pronounce misandrist wrong, because it's going to be a misandrist show, because men are going to be the ultimate... They're either going to be evil, stupid, or both. Geeky stated, "You know what, I'm going to rant for a minute. You know you can take your misogyny and stick it up your ass, because I'm fucking tired. Sorry, Mom, of being told every time I turn around if I don't like your bullshit narrative shoved down my throat or up my ass like an enema, I'm some kind of misogynistic, unfair, racist, sexist jerk. That is childish, that is lazy, that is cowardly," and she could not be more right. Because all you're doing is taking people that are already marginalized and you're using them as damn shields. People are mad because she was a shitty choice. She was proven to have an agenda. She said crappy things on Twitter that she deleted. Geeky continues, Kathleen Kennedy has completely effed up Star Wars beyond belief. There was a plan. There was no plan. Never a plan. She's always like, I still don't understand how the woman has a job, frankly. I really don't, because if anybody can pinpoint to one person who messed it up, it's her. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy is totally incompetent. She then adds, so don't you dare sit there and say it's misogynistic, mean, and unfair, because I am a woman and I think it's a lot of crap. And you are not going to sit here and tell me again that I am internalized misogynist because of your PR spin. You know, there's a lot of women and they are just sick and tired of hearing it. Star Wars fans have been women for years. It wasn't a recent thing that women have become Star Wars fans, and there have been strong female women in Star Wars, Geeky says. She concludes, so a middle finger to you. You better not spin this new thing because if you don't agree as misogynistic, mean, and unfair again. Oh, look at how creative and how original you are. Sorry, but I'm sick of it. As a woman, I'm so sick of being used as a shield and then being told I'm not allowed to have an opinion other than the opinion they tell me I should have. Criticism of Hedlund as the showrunner for the series has already been rebuffed by the likes of people like John Camp. Of course, John Campea is going to shill out for Disney. John Campea is just a bitch. I'm sorry. He's such a bitch.
He was a retard.
Oh my God. Towards the end of April, Campea responded to the then rumors of Hedlund taking over the show, calling her critics man babies in an obvious reference to Rian Johnson. Now listen, I can already hear the man babies crying out, why is it female centric? There is an agenda? Let's just put that to bed and not touch on this again, shall we? They've already gotten 3 other series that are all male leads. So what does that matter? It does. You don't. John Campea.
Fuck that puto.
He added, that means right now, if this comes out and it's only 4 shows, that's 75% of them male-led. One that's going to happen to be a female lead. Deal with it and just move on. Can we move on from that? Thank you. I can hear John Campea saying that in his little bitchy, whiny voice, too.
Fuck that puto.
Campea's co-host Aaron Cummings would rebuff him and break down why the criticism was valid and why she had an issue with how the rumor was circulated. It would not surprise me in the least if Lucasfilm and Kennedy loyalists do not attempt this strategy to deflect criticism of Hedlund's series. We've seen it play out throughout Hollywood. As I previously mentioned, Ghostbusters 2016 used it. More recently, we saw it deployed with Terminator Dark Fate and Charlie's Angels. The films and studios that deploy this strategy don't tend to succeed. Charlie's Angels lost about $100 million. Terminator Dark Fate lost about $100 million or more. Both of them were just absolute dumpster fires. Star Wars is already hurting with the absolutely horrible Disney sequel series and how it treated many of the iconic Star Wars characters. In fact, the failure of the sequel trilogy, and more specifically The Last Jedi, already created a box office bomb in Solo. The Star Wars brand is bleeding fans. It's bleeding fan. There's only so much more it can take before it's broken like Batman's back after confronting Bane. So what do you guys think? What do you think of this Civil War? I think this is very interesting because Kennedy is on her way out in 2021. That's when her contract's up. I don't see them renewing her contract. So what's going to happen to the Leslie Hedlund series? And what do you think about Leslie Hedlund being Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant for 1 full year and then them still playing the card that she's innocent, she didn't know anything? And then, of course, there's the whole trope of if you insult the show, you're a sexist, misogynist, man baby, yada, yada, yada. You're afraid of strong women who hurt you. I just think this is not going to end well either way. I do hope that Kennedy gets ousted eventually, if not when her contract is up, hopefully sooner. But Bob Iger, that this Leslie Hedlund working for Weinstein has dirt on him and Michael Eisner, and neither of them want their 401ks or their pensions messed with, so I don't think anything's going to happen. It's going to keep this forces female stuff, and we're just going to keep not watching it, basically. So let's take this thing home. I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. Please be sure to bitch slap that like button. Hail the Fandom Collective. Go check out their channel. Subscribe, and there's tons of other creators, including myself, there. Hail the Fandom Menace. Hail to thee, my subscribers. If it weren't for you, this wouldn't be possible. Here's where you can find us across social media. You all know the spots. You know where. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Come on, follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Join the Facebook group. It's great. It's a place to be. Reviews. Private group. It's a lot of fun.
Son of a bitch!
It's a trap!